Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Temption CGK205. Temption is a boutique German brand. I'm a fan, and their watches are quite rare. They produce under 1,000 watches a year as far as I know. And what I have for you is the newer CGK205 and the older CGK203. There is a middle generation one, the CGK204, which I don't have. And I just sort of wanted to share the two because I like this brand a lot, and this is a watch that I acquired about 10 years ago now, actually. I'm not sure exact time it was produced, more than that. But I really like this one a lot. It was a sort of an unknown brand. It was very sort of boutique. They had a lot of cool features that I thought were interesting. These watches are, cut from the same cloth, so to say, but there's a lot of little differences here and there. Size is a little bit different. The CGK203 is 42 millimeters wide. The CGK205 is 43 millimeters wide, but it looks a little bit bigger. Case is thicker, as you can see. Sapphire crystal is slightly domed, whereas on the 203 it was flat, so the 205 is a little bit domed. So you can see it adds a little bit of shine to it. The 203 is a little bit more of a tool watch in style. They're both kind of tool watch. And in the 205 you see a lot more of Temption sort of modern Bauhaus elements coming in here. You have this single link style bracelet in steel. You have a little bit more designy elements in the watch. You have 3 onyx cabochons now in the screw down crowns, as well as the chronograph pushers. Here you had only it in the crown. Bracelets obviously different. I actually like the 203 bracelet a lot. I think it's very, very comfortable on the 205. It's still quite comfortable as well. The 205 is a different lug system, as you can see. So on this one, it would have been very difficult to put on a strap, whereas on the 205, it actually comes with a leather strap, and there's also a rubber strap option. You can just unscrew this here and put that in. Both of the watches feature a Valgio 7751 automatic movement. Here you can see the movement in there with a custom Temption rotor, which has been skeletonized. And this was an interesting one because it had the gold-toned 7751. I believe that was a relatively uncommon model. I'm pretty happy to have that one. Another difference is, of course, the bezel. Here you have a fixed bezel with a tachymeter scale. The 203 had a rotating bezel. I happen to like rotating bezels a lot, so I would have liked for the 205 to have that as well. It was a really nice, solid clicking system. If you look on the dial, you'll definitely see a little bit more pizzazz in the 205. That Temption logo, which has always been black on black, is now more visible. You can see this dial is very, very black, whereas this dial is slightly less black, where the logo is the blackest thing, and you can see that. Hands are a little bit larger, a little bit more distinctive, where they're very utilitarian here on the 203. Very sort of much, I'll say, Speedmaster in theme, where you have a little bit more character here in the CGK205. They're both excellent timepieces. It's, in a sense, I'm really comparing them just to show you some of the differences over the years, because I haven't seen one of these for sale in a long time, and they're probably quite uncommon and difficult to get. So here's the 43 millimeter wide CGK205 on the wrist. Looks very cool on this bracelet. Very much has sort of a Porsche design feel, which probably isn't that much of an accident. Well, Porsche design is German, but it's designed in Austria. But Temption's German, but we'll sort of say that's similar. And this definitely has a little bit more of a flashy, distinctive look to it. Legibility is still excellent. The 7751 movement is essentially a modified version that ETA produces of the 7750. So what it adds is you have a 12-hour chronograph, you have moon phase indicator, you have a pointer style date, you have a month indicator, a day of the week indicator, a synchronized 24-hour hand, subsidiary seconds hand. It's what's called a complete calendar, which means that adjustments need to be made each year. So it's slightly different than an annual calendar and slightly different, different of course, than the perpetual calendar. But I think for the money, the 7751 gives you a lot of bang for your buck. They're not terribly common to find in watches, and one of the reasons is that it's difficult to design around the 7751 layout because it's so heavy to the left, where the right is essentially completely open from, and free, and there's nothing there. So it's essentially space for brands to put their logos and things like that. But in a lot of instances, brands don't necessarily make it look good. And I think that Temption does a pretty good job of allowing you to go ahead and use the 7751 to a nice degree. You can see here, for example, in the subsidiary dial here, you have the seconds hand is different than the synchronized 24-hour hand. Whereas in the previous version here, they were essentially the same with slight different sizes, which made it a little bit more difficult to read. So it's good to see these little improvements that Temption has been able to make over the years. But I would say that both of these watches are thematically going to be very similar, and I'm really happy to have sort of both of them in my collection. So again, this is the Temption CGK205, and the price for it is $3,278. That's a lot of watch for the money. And again, the brand is very boutique and produces quite few watches per year. And you can see their full review on aBlogtoWatch.